Messiah prepare us to think of him as a shepherd, just as we read in the book of Ezekiel. Ezekiel writes in chapter 34 and verse 23, I will place over them one shepherd, my servant David, and he will tend them. He will tend them and he and be their shepherd. Prophecies like this help us understand why the shepherds of Bethlehem over 2,000 years ago were told the good news about the coming of this one good shepherd, Jesus Christ. There was a shepherd living out in the fields nearby, keeping watch over their flocks of the night. But the angel said to them, do not be afraid. I bring you good news that will cause great joy for the people. Today, in the town of David, the Savior was born to you. He is Messiah, the Lord. This is quoted from Gospel of Luke, chapter 2. Why do the prophets ask us to think of Messiah as a good shepherd? The shepherd is prominent, meaningful metaphor in the Bible. Adonai is referred to as a shepherd in Genesis 49 and 24 and Isaiah 40 and verse 11. In the latter, God is described as a tender shepherd who cares for his people, the flock. He tends his flock like a shepherd. He gathers the lambs in his arms and carries them close to his heart. He gently leads those that have young ones. Out of Isaiah 14 and verse 11. In Psalm 23, maybe the most important psalm and the most well-known psalm, where we read about the shepherd. There the Lord is our shepherd, and he protects his flock from evil. Why is God's flock compared with sheep and not cattle or chicken or horses? Sheep need leadership. Without it, they wander off and are injured or killed. Isaiah explained that we are all the sheep have gone astray. Each of us has turned out to one way. This was just true in his name, in his time, and 1700 years before the birth of Jesus Christ, Yeshua. It was written in Isaiah 53 and verse 6. It takes special qualities to be a shepherd, or of sheep and of people. In ancient Israel, God often appointed those who demonstrated skills and wisdom in their leadership and care for their sheep with the privilege of leading God's people. Why shepherds can become great leaders. Let us look at this in the Jewish leadership. There were shepherds. God handpicked shepherds with a proved record of trustworthiness in caring for their sheep to be the patriarchs and first leaders of Israel. Most notable is Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Moses, and of course King David. Another question can be, what is it about shepherds that they can slip so easily into a leadership role? One shepherd have a lot of time to think as they watch over the animals. According to the Rabbi Ken Spiro, time to think is a prerequisite for leadership. That's a good thing for leadership, to be thinking, to evaluate one's self to the highest level where one transcends the physical reality and enters a higher dimension of communication with the infant requires a huge amount of work and a lot of thinking, time to think. It's quoted from Philosopher Aish. Spiro further highlights that shepherds have a great deal of practice managing large groups of living creatures. One of the great lessons that we need to learn from Jewish history is the difficulty and the challenge of unifying and trying to lead the most individualistic nation on earth. Being a shepherd, good practice for the daunting task. Adds Spiro. Although Moses was a prince of Egypt and likely well versed in the princes of Egypt leadership, he was chosen by God to prepare himself to be a good leader for the people of Israel during those 40 years portions as a shepherd. It was likely very humbling. Humility is an important qualification of a great leader. When we have made this and read this, God appeared to him. He was at the burning bush, and there he got the role of leadership and be the leader of the people of Israel into the freedom. A good king praises his good shepherd. David was also a shepherd called by God to lead Israel. David, who risks his life to protect his sheep from predators such as lions and bears, provides insight into the characteristic of good shepherd in Psalm 23, which is penned like this: The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in the green pasture. He leads me beside quiet water. He refreshed my soul. David's solitude as shepherd helped him to deeply understand that God was his shepherd. He understood that he was his shepherd. It is a touching metaphor. Like sheep, we are totally dependent on our shepherd to provide our sustenance. The shepherd is attend to your need. When we enter the flock of the Good Shepherd, his very words fed our soul. His spirit conquers of thirst, revealing to us mysteries that even the prophet and the angels long to know. This you can read in 1 Peter in New Testament, chapter 1, verse 10 to 12. He guides me along the right path for his name's sake. It's written to David in Psalm 23, verse 3. David perhaps realized his own restlessness, and as he turned to God, trusting him with his life, he rested in his faithfulness. Like sheep, people are restless, prone to wander, always searching for greener grass, and too often, obviously, it will be too dangerous. Shepherds are watchful, keeping their flock safe from their own tendency to wander. This protects them from dangerous terrain and waiting predators, as well as shepherds would customarily create a sheepfold at night or enclosed topped by thorns. The sheep will be kept in a fence and kept out of predators. They would sleep across the entrance, becoming the door to the fold, effectively barring the entrance to predator could not creep up on them as they slept. That is the shepherd. In verse 4, Psalm 23, we read, even though I walk through the darkness valley, I fear no evil, for you are with me, your rod and your staff, they comfort me. When the shepherd wanders and cares for the sheep, it can be into dangerous circumstances, getting caught in thick, floating down a river, passing near predators. The shepherd used his tools, the rod and the staff, to defend, rescue, and bring his sheep back into his protection. People likewise find themselves in precious circumstances they never imagined or unprepared for the challenges they will meet. God never abounds us to face those challenges alone. He is always there. The shepherd will be close to us. The rod, often considered a disciplinary tool, it is in reality a weapon used to defend sheep, by warding off predators. The staff is used to hook a sheep's neck or leg to redact, hold, or nudge them, not to hurt them or to discipline them, but rather to keep them safe. A popular myth would have believe us to believe that the shepherds in ancient Israel broke the leg of the sheep who wanders. While the leg is healing, it is said that the sheep would become endeared to the shepherds as the nurturers them back to health, carrying the disciples' sheep close to his heart. That's what God will do with us. In reality, it is highly impractical and counterproductive to break a sheep leg. They can weigh up to about 7 pounds, so carrying even one disabled sheep would handicap a shepherd, preventing him from educating, caring for other sheep for several weeks. Imagine if a shepherd were caring for multiple sheep in his condition. Moreover, the sheep's leg might not heal properly, which would permanently handicap it from responding to predators. Moreover, the sheep might associate the rod and staff with punishment, not comfort and protect, making a shepherd's job much more difficult long term. If shepherds in ancient Israel did disable their sheep, we would likely see it reflect in the Jewish tradition. What we see instead is the Midrash written almost 1,000 years ago about Moses as a shepherd. In Shermot Rabbah 2 and 2 is written, one day a kid ran away from the flock and Moses carried. Moses chased after it until it came to spring and began to drink. When Moses reached the kid, he cried, "Oh, I didn't know that you were thirsty." He cradled the runaway kid into his arm and carried it to the flock. Said the Almighty, "You are merciful in tending sheep. You will tend my flock, the people of Israel." Moses realized that the kid did not run away from the flock out of the malice or wickedness. It was merely thirsty. Only a shepherd who hastened not to judge the runaway kid, who is sensitive to cause of its deception, may merciful can be merciful, lift it into his arm and bring it back home again. This can be a lesson for us. Before we judge and condemn our own sheep for what seems to be backsliding, rebellion, or lack of judgment, we have an opportunity to discover the reason for their actions so we can more effectively led them into greener pasture on good fresh waters, not into prison and hospital bed. Isaiah says in chapter 14, sums up our duty when he says, a good shepherd gathers the lamb in his arms and carry them close to his heart. He gently leads those that have young one. As we continue to read through Psalm 23, the shepherd and king write, you prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Shepherd will never betray his sheep by allowing him to be taken by a predator. Instead, he will keep the predator at bay while he leads his sheep to grass. Though people will fail to protect us in this way or even lead us into dangers, our God and good shepherd never does. You anoint me, my head with oil, my cup overflows. David continued, when the sheep chase and were judged, shepherds would use oil as balm to help soothe the pain and heal the hurt. This gesture is also symbol of lavish generosity and goodness on the part of the host. In David's case, the shepherd was eventually anointed with oil as king. Likewise, although Yesu is the King of Kings, he came as a humble shepherd. When he returns, his exalted kingship will be evident to all. When he returns, all will see, all will hear his returning. But we can bring this lesson back to our level as well. God can and does exalt even the humblest of people, much to the cheering of those who despise them. Surely your goodness and love will follow me. For we read in Psalm 23, all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Sheep are the most precious as a shepherd has. Therefore, a good shepherd treats them as a treasure. A great personal sacrifice. He is responsible for his flock throughout their lifespan, similar to nurses who watch over the critical ill patients throughout the night, even after their 12-hour shift is finished, to make sure that the patient make it to their next treatment. Likewise, Jesus is such a shepherd. He will never abandon us, providing for us sacrificially. He has even laid down his life for us. You can read that in John chapter 10.